everyone, and welcome to the At Matters podcast presented by The Outer Loop, where we answer the question, what are we here to do? I'm Melissa Wilson, and this is our first guest ever. What's your name?
Oh, my name is Aspen Cullen, and my pronouns are they, he.
Amazing. Yeah, so if you have followed The Outer Loop for a while now, you'll know that we used to do this program called Talk Hard. We're about to bring it back in the fall in Chicago. But Talk Hard is kind of a stylized open mic night sort of format. And we were like, I wonder if we can bring that to the podcast for people who aren't local to Chicago, but we want to be able to share their talents and who they are and the sorts of projects that they're working on the podcast to get their art out there and also just share it with you guys because I know it'll be a super cool gift for our audience. So we're just going to take a full episode and chat with Aspen about the things that they're doing, and then we'll get a little treat of a song at the end, which I'm super excited about. So yeah, we're going to start with our normal 5 things game. If this is your first episode, 5 things is an improv game to kind of just bring us all into the same headspace from the crazy days that we've been having for us and also for you listening. So I will name a category, say 5 things that blank, and Aspen will have to come up with them on the spot. So my category for you is name 5 things that you wish people knew about feminism.
5 things I wish people knew about feminism. I wish people knew that we're not scary, and we're not mean. I wish people knew that we have really big hearts and that we care for everyone. I wish people knew that we want them to have the freedom of choice to make whatever choices they want to make about their lives. And I wish they knew that we're just human beings, just like everyone else. We make mistakes. We're humble. And I wish they knew that we have our own identities and we have our own struggles. And, being a feminist is important to us, but it's not the only thing about us.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, those are good. You came up with those fast. I'm impressed.
Thank you.
Good job. Okay. All right, do you have a category?
I do. Okay. Sorry, I wrote it down. Okay. Name 5 queer and or feminist authors.
Oh.
You got this. You can do this.
Okay.
They can be playwrights.
Oh, okay. Shayna Taub, is that? Yeah. Who wrote 12th Night the Musical and all of those.
Yes.
Oh, crap, what's her name? Who wrote, the Constitution one? Heidi?
Oh, What the Constitution Means to Me?
Yeah. It's Heidi something.
I think you're right. I think you're...
You know who I'm talking about.
I do know who you're talking about. I see her.
Yeah, she's amazing.
She is. I really like that play.
It's so good.
Sarah Goff showed it to me.
It's such a good play. Read that play if you haven't.
Or watch it. It's on Amazon Prime. Oh, can I say that?
I need to do that. Yeah, you can say that. Talk about brands all the time.
Okay,
this podcast. Yes, okay. I don't know their name, which is terrible, but the author of the poem book that you gave me about the queer Christian.
Oh, Jay Holm.
Yes.
Yes.
That was really cool.
Mm-hmm. He has a new one too.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, The Vanishing Closet.
Okay.
Yeah, or The Word, something like that.
Okay.
It's very cool.
I'll have to check it out.
Yeah, me too. I'll buy it for us.
Good. Yay. Okay, other queer or feminist authors. These have all been plays so far. Or not.
He did poetry.
Okay. Well, I mean, I guess you could say Michelle Obama is a feminist author.
Yes, she is.
I love Michelle Obama. Okay, one more is... This is bad.
I'm gonna giggle at you.
Ooh, Maureen Murdoch. Do you know? Yes. Phenomenal. We're working with the heroine's journey that she came up with in the Inner Enso right now, and it's been transformational. It's so cool. My latest obsession is realizing that Legally Blonde follows the heroine's journey. Yeah.
I say this frequently, but Legally Blonde walked so where we could run.
Yes.
And this is a hot take. I like Legally Blonde better. And I know we've had
this conversation.
I just think it does it better. It did it before. But like, that's just my, like, I totally understand Barbie. And yes, we have this conversation.
Yes.
I get it.
Yes.
And I appreciate it.
Yes.
It's just not for me.
That's reasonable. Yeah. I like them both, but
Mhm.
I've been obsessed with Legally Blonde lately. It's so good.
I love it so much. It's like, it's horrible how much I like it.
Yeah. No, I think I listened to it like twice through on the flight from Maryland to here.
Good.
Yeah.
So much better.
Yeah. It's so much better.
End of discussion.
Yes, end of discussion. Okay, so...
I'm so sad you didn't say Alison Bechdel for Fun Home, even though you've sung. Have you read the graphic novel, though?
No.
Okay.
I need to. Yeah.
I'll lend it to you.
Okay, good.
It's good.
Okay. I feel like I was like, oh, we're going off topic, but it's literally not.
No, it's not.
Off topic.
I'm really sad about this one. Alice Osman. Do you talk about how much you like Heartstopper?
I love Heartstopper. I feel like I'm a terrible person. I was like, I must be forgetting people, but...
It's hard when you're in the moment.
Yeah. No, it's okay. And I agree with all the things I said.
Yeah, yes.
But
you
it is very comedic that I didn't say all of them. Anyways. Okay, I think we should start with how do we know each other?
Oh, yes.
Because the audience is like, you're our first guest, which is crazy and is like so good.
Can they see me? Like,
yes.
Okay.
Well, if they're watching like on YouTube or something.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, I think on Spotify too, because I looked at it the other day, and
yes,
they
right.
can't. I could see Michael, and Rachel.
Yes.
I could see them both, and I was like, oh hey.
Yes. Yeah, you're right. It is a video on Spotify. Yes, so they can see you if they're watching. But yes, how do we know each other?
Well, it's really funny because we're recording it where we met, basically, like
That's
on the
so
campus.
True. Yes.
Melissa's home. Well, you're not home because like it's not your home.
It's like my third home.
Yeah, it's home for me. It's like your home for me.
Yes. 100%.
So we met in Cheney. We met through Eastern Washington University through their theater department.
Yes.
What's funny is because we met and then like we met.
Yeah. We were in classes together online during COVID times, and it was just like, oh, that's a person.
Mm-hmm.
And then we, like, the first in-person thing that our university did back was, like, capstone, like, short plays in 2021, spring of 2021, and we were in, like, different ones, but we were kind of, like, crossing paths. We were bonding over Olivia Rodrigo.
Oh my
that's
god!
another one.
Yeah.
Oh my god! I can just say Taylor Swift.
I know. And she's not like she's a writer, but she's not like a writer.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, and then we were in Rent together like 6 months later, and that was when we were.
That was like a
friends.
moment.
Yeah, and then we were in like 6 more shows together.
Yeah,
through college. It was a good time, and then
besties ever since.
Yeah, for real.
I feel bad laughing so close to the mic, but I'm like, that's just how I laugh.
Okay, that's a Michael problem.
Yeah, it's no that's problem.
Yeah, sorry, Michael. But yeah, so we met in college, and then I graduated a year ago, and you're about to graduate, which is so cool.
Yes,
so amazing.
It is something. I'm very nervous to go out into the world, but it'll be good.
Yeah.
Nervous is allowed to happen. I'm allowed to
100%.
feel nervous.
It's so reasonable to feel nervous about suddenly not doing the thing that you've done for the last 20 years.
Especially because I feel like my identity is rooted in education.
Yep.
For better, for worse.
Yes.
You know?
Yes. Wild. Okay, so you're a theater major.
Yes.
That's where we met.
Yes, I'm a double major now. This changed. It changed while you were gone.
Yeah.
But I did tell you.
Yeah, I knew about this.
Yes. But I'm a double major in gender, women's, and sexuality studies and theater with a minor in poli-sci.
Bro. This person. So cool.
If it makes you feel any better, though, I haven't taken a poli-sci class in, like, 3 years.
That's okay. Well, that was your original major.
Yes, I was originally a political science with pre-law major with a minor in queer and sexuality studies and a minor in theater. Then it changed, and then I was a theater major with a minor in queer and sexuality studies and a poli-sci minor. And then it changed this year for the last time with the double major and the minor.
Yes. No, it's good.
They all stayed in there. Like, I knew what I was doing. It's not like I, like...
Right.
It was like,
nothing changed. The scales just like rebalanced.
Yeah, I didn't take an exit. I was just changing lanes.
I love that. I love that. Good. Yeah, so what you've been up to some pretty cool stuff lately, specifically with your like queer and feminist like academic work.
Yeah.
So I would love to chat about that.
Absolutely. Well, I feel like it really began right before the pandemic. I wrote this paper. It was talking about, I analyzed musicals and the representation that was in them. And I did a really intense literature review of queer musicals, looking at how they represented people and who they represented. Specifically, I was asking the question, why do we not see so many queer women on the stage for musical theater? This transpired to KCACTF 2023.
Which is like a national college theater festival.
Yes, the Kennedy Center something.
Yeah.
Region 7, which is the reason that Washington is in. They had a call for papers, and I decided to write this paper, revamping my old one, kind of taking the like the actual statistics that I got from it, so like the representation and the breakdowns of it, and then talking about scholarly why we see a lack of representation. So this was called A Lack of Leading Ladies, an analysis of queer musical theater. So basically asking the question, why don't we see queer women on stage, and like why? Like, what are the reasons for that? So I really talked about the fetishization that goes a lot into any sort of representation, if there is any, who is represented, and like specifically, are there stereotypes? What kind of stereotypes? And kind of naming those. So I talked a lot about like tropes, even in musical theater. So talking about the bisexual woman stereotype that we see a lot, even in Rent, unfortunately. But like this woman who is bisexual and then cheats on her partner, whatever gender that is. And so seeing how that negatively impacts the already little representation that we have. So that's how I started. That was when I was like, oh, I think there's something here. I think there's something to be studied here. And then I went away for the summer, had a lot to think about, had a lot of really beautiful experiences at drum corps, and was thinking about how do queer people interact in artistic spaces, because my experience in the theater department is very different from my experience at drum corps, but both are incredibly beautiful. And so I was like, oh, I think, like, I genuinely think that there is something here in terms of like art queerness to be studied. So I only took one class in the fall because of my head injury. Yeah. But it allowed me a lot of time to work on my auto drama, which I felt like was super rooted in my wanting to combine feminism and queerness and performance. And then after I like I did a series of, I think, 10 poems. And then I performed them, but as I was writing it, I was like, I think I need to do this. Like, I think there's something telling me to do this.
Yeah.
So I worked it out with our program director of theater, Sarah Goff. Love you, Sarah. And I worked it out with the program director for GWSS, Jody Rohr. Love you, Judy. You're so great. You're awesome. And they were like, yes, please. I was only like 2 or 3 classes away from getting my GWSS major. And so we worked it out, and I ended up capstoning with GWSS, which is awesome. And yeah, so this winter and spring quarter, I spent a lot of time thinking about queerness on stage, and it was super perfect because I got cast in the role of Emma from the prom, which actually was what inspired me to write the original paper, because I was like, really, lesbians only have this and Fun Home, which is about Alison Bechdel. And both of these things were written about true people. There really was an Emma their name wasn't Emma, but there was someone out there that wasn't allowed to go to their prom, and this still happens, which is why it's incredibly important to tell these stories, because they were queer. And there's only like a couple stories that feature sapphic relationships, sapphic meaning relationships between 2 non-men, whether or not they only are in those relationships is not important, but it's just that relationship. Sorry, I just wanted to make sure.
No, that's
yes. So sapphic includes bisexual, feminine people, or people who are not men, and then also lesbians. But there's only a couple. So like Falsettos only features the lesbian couple for one act, which is the second act.
True, yeah.
And The Color Purple is written by Alice Walker, is very sapphic. And even Alice Walker herself had a lot of things about sapphic-ness in her writing, in her feminist works. But a lot of times it gets cut out. Like in the movie that is coming out, they're like, they're sisters. They're not sisters. They're very connected. So we see this historical erasure as part of it too. So I was very excited to play Emma. I was like, this is, and it's a dream role. Like genuinely, I just love her story is so intertwining with mine. So I got to do that, and I wrote a couple papers about it. Actually, I wrote one paper calling for the praise of the prom and talking about why it's important to tell the story, especially in the political climate of today, especially in the United States, where books are being banned, performances are being banned, drag performers are being banned, students aren't allowed to go to prom, students are being killed. Like, these conversations need to be happening. And then also one that I wrote for I was taking it for feminist theories. So I had a gender, sex, and power class, which is the one I wrote for praise for the prom. And then for my feminist theories class, I took a little more critical look at the prom, saying, how can we do better? What ways does this story fail us? And so I talked a lot about the whiteness in it, saying this is a very white story, but there's room to be improved. And I would hope that in the future, that Emma's played by people of color. And I think that would be really beautiful to see that story be told. In the movie of the prom, Alyssa is, and it's great. It's beautiful. I have my other issues with that movie, but alas. Can't be perfect.
True. Yeah.
And then so this quarter was my capstone class for GWSS, and we were reading feminist manifestos. And our final was it was a 2-part final. So we had to write a collective manifesto, and we had to like combine all of our stuff, like our work together. So there was 4 of us, and we decided our administration here wants to cut the GWSS program. It doesn't think it's valuable, and it wants to put all of the diversity programs into one. So it wants to put GWSS, Chicano, and Chicanx studies, Africana studies, disability studies, and Native American and Indian studies. Sorry, their name's a little confusing, and I don't like the other part of the word, but it's part of their term. So it's there. They want to do one big major for that. And we are very upset about that. And so we wrote, our collective manifesto is called My Major Has Meaning. And so it's us saying why it was important to have this, why it's important for other students to have it. And it was really beautiful, and I'm really glad that we got to do it. I wrote a long form poem for it.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. And then my classmate Emma, she wrote a step-by-step why it's important. So talking about the actual skills that we learned. And then one of my other classmates, they wrote a personal narrative, and then someone else wrote another long form storytelling poem, and it was really brilliant.
That's cool. Is that something that's accessible?
Yeah. I have a PDF of it.
Oh, dope.
Yeah,
okay.
we made it as a scrapbook.
That's so
cute. So we called it My Major Has Meaning, a feminist scrapbook manifesto.
That's so cute. Maybe we'll put that in the description.
Yeah. I'll send it to you.
Okay, great.
Yes, it's really great.
Yeah.
And then we all had to do an individual manifesto.
Okay.
Yeah, so one of my classmates, Emma, she did the Power to the Youth manifesto, so talking about the importance of children and why they deserve rights and why we need to value them. Another one did Unbecoming and Becoming a Daddy's Girl, so analyzing childhood and youthfulness of girls and that relationship between their dad. And then Marlon also did one of their individual manifesto, talked about assimilation in terms of their Latina culture. Yeah, and then I did, it's a long title, but I called it My Musical Theater Manifesto, a Feminist Review of Aspen Cullen. So I took some musical theater songs that were already made, and I took the ones that resonated with me and I put them into a 30-minute show. And in between, I talked about why they were important to me and talking about some feminist aspects and then like reviewing my life basically through these songs. And I performed it and it was so beautiful and I cried a lot. But it was awesome to have people in the audience and all like the people I met out there.
Yeah, that's so cool. And that's also something we can link for people to watch.
Yes.
I think that'll be super cool.
Yeah. Even link my YouTube.
Yeah.
It has my auto drama as well.
Perfect.
And the Swift Gaze, analyzing Taylor Swift and her haters presentation.
Amazing. Amazing. Can you explain what an auto drama is real quick? Because I feel like we glossed over that term.
We did.
Yeah.
Okay, so an auto drama, it's a 10-minute performance with just you, and you're telling a story that it's like either the span of your life or a specific moment in your life, and it's all done by you. You memorize everything, you make your own tech, and then you perform it in front of these people. And it was genuinely fundamental to like my career as a performer, and I'm really glad that we have to do it. It's funny that it's part of our directing program, but it totally makes sense why.
Yeah.
But I just think it's kind of silly. I'm like, oh yeah, I get it.
Right.
Because like, we have to make the choices.
Yeah.
And we have to be grounded in them. But also we're performing.
Yes.
But
yeah. And it's cool too because you have to look at that part of your life through a metaphor. So it's not just like acting out something that happened to you. But it's like, okay, how can we represent this in a way that works for stage and all of that. So yeah, it's a super cool exercise.
You should explain your metaphor for yours because I really liked yours.
Oh, thanks. Mine was talking about how because I've performed my whole life, I feel like every part of my life ends up as a performance, and like I can be very when I was in school, very like grade motivated and people pleasing sorts of tendencies. And so it started with me as a kid, and it went through like I would do just a couple lines worth of kind of a scene of something that happened to me when I was a kid, like an interaction with my mom or with a friend or something like that. And if it was like something that was, socially acceptable or pleased the people around me, then there would be these like audience sounds of applause and all these sorts of things. And if it wasn't, then there would be this booing. And so it was like, oh my gosh, okay, I have to make sure that everything I'm doing gets applause. And then finally getting to college and kind of like hitting the low point of that and then trying to break out of that. So yeah, it was fun. And I did it like on the stage in our theater space at school. And so it was like, my life is a stage and I'm on a stage. I don't know. It was fun. It was super cool. And I feel like I learned a lot about myself and also about theater. And doing it. Yeah. So it's a cool exercise.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I know this is like a deep question, but I would love for you to chat a little bit. Like, we focus on this podcast on purpose. Like, what is your purpose? What are you on this planet to do? Do you feel like that's something that you've figured out in your life? And if so, what is that? Or if not, like, what's that journey like? Yeah, just chat a little bit about that.
Yeah. Yes and no.
So fair.
Like, I know what I want. I just don't know how to do it. I feel like I've been really grateful to try so many things here. Like, I tried all of the elements in theater. I've tried many things in GWSS and learning about things. And I feel like my purpose is like to educate and to help people. I think there's this gap a lot of the times between like what I feel and what other people feel. And I would love to be the in-between to get people to hear and understanding like why feminism is important, why activism is important, why equal rights is important, like why these things matter, and not being so passive in our political system, because that's ultimately what the people in power want. Is they want us to not participate. They want us to think our voices don't matter, that we have no impact. And I just know that that's not the truth. We're so important. We the people are the people. Like that's like, we have so much power, and to claim that power is important. So I just really want to be that like educator of like, hey, no, you matter. And like, it's important what you have to say. And that doesn't mean that I'm going to agree with you all the time, but I at least want to get you to see what I'm seeing.
Yeah.
I want you to see how people are hurting. I want you to see how people are disenfranchised. Like, we can see it together, and we can navigate the impact that it has on us. Yeah. I'm not trying to do that yet, but I'd love to do that.
Amazing.
Yeah.
That's so fair. You've got so much time.
I do have a lot of time.
Yeah.
That's a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
I have the rest of my life.
That's so true. Yeah, it's good. Okay. Last thing before we go to your song. And I know I'm putting you a little on the spot for this, but if you had to ask our audience to kind of like ponder one thing, yeah, what would that be?
In what ways have you been silenced? Have you been stopped? Have you been told you're not enough? And what was at the root of that?
Yeah, I love that. Thank you. All right, thanks so much for chatting.
Of course. Literally, I love it. I love yapping.
Yay. Just a little yap session for us.
No, literally. And I love talking with you.
Yeah, I love talking.
It's like you're my bestie or something.
Wild. Oh my gosh. Okay, yay. We're so excited to hear your song.
I'm excited to play. I've never played live. Yeah. Or like I record on my thing, but that's about it.
Sure.
Oh, yeah. That's a side comment that I can remember later.
Great. Perfect. All right. Well, we'll go to the song, and thank you so much for chatting. We appreciate you so much.
Thank you for having me. Thank you for listening. I don't know. It's a little, I want to look at everything.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah. Okay. Cool. All right. Yay to the song.
Yippee! Okay, this song is called Trial. If we held a trial for all of the sinners, God, you know there wouldn't be winners. And you and I are fighting, but I can't win, 'cause the rest of your children think I'm a sin. And if we treated sin like it was a crime, maybe then the politicians wouldn't lie. God, you know I'm trying to talk to you, but I don't know if the phone calls are coming through. And if the angel took my voicemail or tossed it out with the rest of the hate mail. And God, I'm tired of fighting a war. God, can you send another dove? And God, it's getting pretty dim out here. There aren't many spaces for us to be queer. And I'm not asking for a brand new space, just somewhere that we can be safe. And it's kind of simple, but it's the time. I just don't want to be another hate crime. God, do you think you could say that it's okay for the kids to be gay? I'm tired of hearing your scripture from lips that don't even know why you take communion sips. And I've been thinking about mistranslations. Do you still love all of your creations? Or do you regret the way you take the word and say any way to counter it is absurd? Thank you.